Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Gamer Social Club Weekly News Podcast. We are recording on the 5th of June, 2025. It's a Thursday evening here, as always. And it is me, your friendly host, Harry, aka Knavish Crayfish, with a full team again this week, which is nice. Very fortunate as we are getting deep into the showcase season. And thus we are all very, very busy here at Gamer Social Club, but we managed to get the crew together. So, of course, with me as always is no empathy, only daggers, Lady V. V, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Good to see you all. Good luck for the weekend with the showcases. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, we're getting into it now. It's definitely about to hit, but there we are. Brief calm before the storm. And of course, I also have the soon-to-be Steam Deck verified Mark, aka We Awoke the Hive. How you doing, buddy?
Really good, thanks, Harry. Yeah, really excited to get the Steam Deck first foray into PC gaming. So whether or not I can return next week depends on how that goes. It could be a shambles, but it's a good job the football season's finished, so I can get some time in to watch all these showcases.
Excellent. Yeah, man. Congrats. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. We've got some other little fun toys to talk about in a moment, and one of those people to share that with will be, of course, Adam, aka Oh No, Not Addy. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm okay, thank you. Yes, I'm mid show. I'm between showcases, shall we say? That's where I'm at.
That's right. Yeah, as opposed to whereas normally between shows, of course, in the real world, IRL, you're between showcases with us.
Yes, absolutely.
But no, you've been doing great, man.
See you all. I'm looking forward to chatting the nonsense that is this week.
Yes. Yep. We've been very busy here covering as much of it as we can. And of course, today is a massive day if people aren't aware already. But we'll get into that. Of course, first we have our usual rigmarole. If you are regular here, you know all of this already. And hello, thank you again for joining us. As always, it's good to have you here. But yeah, we are the Gamer Social Club. We are a website that covers games in all manners of different ways, from news, reviews, previews, editorials, guides, and interviews, and much, much more. This is our YouTube channel. If you'd like to keep up with our content here, please consider subscribing. If you like the video today, please leave a thumbs up, a like, and yeah, if you have any comments or questions or anything like that, please leave it in the comments below, and we'll try and get back to you. But yeah, we try to do this once a week at least, to get together and just talk about the weekend news as well as what we've been playing, what we're looking forward to. And this episode will have some definite focuses. It is a very busy period, as I keep saying already. But yeah, before I move on, got a couple of things to cover still. We have three major pillars when it comes to our site. We are a grassroots independent site, which is, of course, www.gamersocialclub.ca. We complete every game that we review, or we at least finish every game we review. I should be very careful how I say that. We see through to the end, at least, of any story or anything like that. See credits roll before we will then actually give our opinion on anything, our verdict, as it were. There we go, guys. I've forgotten the third pillar. What am I reaching for?
We don't do any leaks or rumors.
That's the one. Most important of anything. Yeah, we do not cover any leaks or like unofficial rumors and stuff like that, or anything like that at all. We just don't deal with that unless we know it's come from an official source, and that we feel secure enough that this is, accurate information. Otherwise, you will not see any rumor mill nonsense from us, any just random tweets by people. That's not our bag. We want to make sure that you can trust in us in what we cover, and yeah, that's how we want to approach it. We are as I said, grassroots site. It's all driven by passion and our love of the game, and we want to share that with all of you. So yeah, of course, we have our socials as well. I'll get through that real quick. We are on Twitter/X at gamer_S_C. We are also on Threads and Blue Sky at Gamer Social Club. We have a Facebook page. We have our website, as I said, and all of this will be in the description below alongside our socials and any of the articles from our site that we mentioned today, of which there will be quite a few because we've already been covering a fair few of the showcases. If you were with us last week, you will already know that as well. But yeah, it is here. We are in the storm of it, as it were, right now. But even before we get into that, we'll talk a little bit about what we've been playing with maybe a sneaky unboxing segment squeezed in there as well. That, if you haven't worked out already, will be related to the Switch 2 launch, as a couple of members of the team have managed to bag themselves one. There we are. There's the nice shiny box. And Lady V, you were the other one. There it is. Already.
I'm paying attention. I'm a very professional podcaster. I do.
Oh, Addie's on the move. Are we getting some scissors or something? Oh, no. Oh, yes, the other bits, of course. There it is. The camera as well. Brilliant. So, yeah, we're going to get into that too. But, yeah, quickly, we'll just talk about what we've been playing. And again, the other three have got quite a lot to get into, I think, with a little game you may have heard about. But I will quickly just say that I jumped into the Hell Is Us demo that dropped, I think it was on the 2nd or maybe the 3rd of this month, and will be available until the 16th as part of sort of Steam Next Fest. It is the third-person sort of sci-fi action-adventure game coming from a studio called Rogue Factor. Very cool, like vibes, very kind of atmospheric, melee-focused combat in this sort of war-torn world where this sort of strange kind of apocalyptic event is kind of happening. These entities have appeared and they're very kind of like weird and ghost-like without faces and stuff. It's very creepy. And you've got this kind of like weird alien tech sword and drone that help you fight them off and everything like that. And it's all done with like no map, very little hand holding. You know, you've got to try and like find points of interest and remember like pieces of information, finding items and trying to work out where you're meant to use them. A bit of puzzling here and there. But yeah, they've sort of described the game as sort of 50-50 exploration, 50 to combat. And yeah, in the couple of hours I played of it, you know, that's generally how I'd feel. I'm going to do a sort of impressions article about that. But that's small fries compared to what we're going to get into now, because these three have all been playing a lot of Elden Ring Nightreign. So, Adam, you've played the most, correct?
I think of us, yes.
Yeah.
I've beat 4 Night Lords so far.
Four of 8. Is it 8?
8, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's 8.
Okay. We'll leave it at that.
There's you could go to your journal and there's like you do remembrances where you then fight a similar the same boss again, but it's different.
Okay.
I haven't done one yet, but there's multiple ways to play it, I suppose. Obviously, you can do multiple runs of the same boss if you want to. So it's yeah.
Of course, but then I imagine then it's between Lady V or Mark who's played it the least. Because actually, I want to start with the person who's played it the least to get their sort of earliest impressions. So who of you two have played it the least?
Have you defeated the first Night Lord yet, Mark?
I've only had that one sitting that we had, guys. So that's literally been my only evening on it. So yeah, it's been.
Well then, yeah, Mark, if you're happy to, yeah, you kick us off. Then I want to hear what you have to think. What you think of Nightreign then, with your early impressions.
Yeah. So what we've played was really good fun. To be honest, in the week leading up to launch last week, if these guys hadn't have it, I think I would have cancelled my pre-order. It wasn't looking like something that I was going to be fully sold on. Mm-hmm. But the sitting that we had, it was really good fun. The variety of characters was very varied. From Software definitely put a lot of thought into that, and how the different classes can come together to intertwine with one another was really good fun. I think the world that you get to explore is great. And one thing I said to Addy and V when we were playing is that it's really refreshing getting dropped randomly into somewhere on the map each time, because I felt that if you were trying to drop in the same space, you might be able to meta the game and then it become pretty stale and pretty boring quite quickly. But From Software have been quite clever in averting that. I'm not sure how I feel, but I mean, this is only based off one sitting, but kind of the feel of progression. I don't really felt like there was much progression than kind of outside of the runs there, but Daddy will know more based on having beat many more bosses than I. I think one thing that I'm quite keen on is the duos mode, and I put an article on the site earlier in the week about the first post-launch patch, and From Software talking about the duos mode, which they will officially put out at some point in the future. There's a mod available now for PC, and there's a link to that on the news article on the site as well. But I feel like trios is just a bit difficult to lock people in for, especially without any prox game chat. And it's just, as an adult trying to get 3 people on at the same time, it's just a pain in the ass. So if they can do a decent scale duos mode, I think that the game will be absolutely fantastic in the future. But yeah, for first sitting in, looking forward to playing more whenever the bloody hell that may be. But yeah, it's been good fun. Been really good fun.
Yeah, man. I'm glad to hear that you went ahead. You still stuck with it and bought the game to play with the other two, because I'm sure there were a couple other people on the team that were playing, and I know there's quite a few in the Discord who were playing it as well. But it was nice. It's nice being able to have a trio, as it were, to be able to then talk to about their experiences, because you hope that you get a full story then from everybody. And I know obviously you haven't played as much, but again, it would then be nice to see your experiences as you go on. And again, if you're playing duos more than maybe trios, how that feels against other people's experiences and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of organically happens over the coming weeks and such. If it's something you stick with, at the end of the day, maybe something, as you say, with the progression, we'll hear more from the other two. But like, yeah, maybe the progression, even if there is more, doesn't sit with you, and you're just like, you know what, actually, yeah, I'm going to spend my time somewhere else. B, what do you think of Nightreign?
I've been loving it, actually. I think, I'm not sure if has the patch dropped yet to patch the solo mode. So I played a little bit of it in solo mode, but I don't think I've played it since the patch dropped. I've got to say, it did feel not set up for solo players when first released. It was obscenely difficult in solo mode, I think. And I know that a lot of people come to these games for the difficulty of it, but it didn't feel difficult in a satisfying way, the way a lot of Dark Souls games do. It felt difficult in a, they didn't really think about this because they were just all in on trios. But I think now that that's patched, that'll be good, because if you, as Mark says, if it's difficult to get everyone together, you can still go in and enjoy a run. Addy and I, obviously the 3 of us played. We got to the Night Lord pretty quickly, actually, the first time we played, and then struggled to get back, which is quite funny.
He as well.
Yeah, he definitely did. Yeah, I mean, that's
not
the
like our first run we died at the gas.
The boss's moveset, right? Like, you can't just go in and do it first try. We had a very fun moment where you select your character in the round table hold, which is fine if you're doing a solo mode. But if you're running as part of a group, you can also change your character on the screen before you drop into a match. And I think Mark was just looking at other characters and accidentally didn't have enough time, and then went in as the mage and absolutely hated it for the entire time, which was fine. And then we had a wonderful encounter where we had to fight bloody Morgott while having pots thrown at us by trolls from a nearby castle, which feels like shouldn't have happened.
I've heard a lot about pot throwing trolls so far. That's one of the main things I've heard.
They're bastards.
They're trolling us.
But yeah, in our second session together, Addy and I played together with a couple of randoms. And it is a bit weird, the fact that there's no party chat or anything like that. Because if you go down when you're in a party and it's not against one of the night bosses, like the final boss, you'll just respawn after a certain amount of time near the party. So I was being greedy and trying to use a grace while in the rain bit of it, which is where you start taking damage. And I was like, Andy, just leave without me, it'll be fine. I'll die over here, I'll respawn next to you in the boss arena, don't worry. And the random we were playing with just sprinted back to get me. And then they died.
Oh, no.
And it was like, some voice chat would be great here. There's tactics being had, or when we were like, please run away from that Royal Revenant. Neither of the two of us want to fight it. Like, please stop trying to solo the Revenant. But we got our first win against the first Night Lord with a random, what was it? Cy Baxter's hubby? Was that the name of
Yeah,
it?
it's the Baxter's hubby, yeah. Like, absolute legend.
Absolute legend, who's played as the Iron Eye, because they get the buff. I think they get the damage buff for everyone.
That's the archer,
And it
isn't
was really good. I've played a little bit solo since then. I have seen the Gaping Dragon. I was very excited.
Nice.
From
Dark Souls 1.
I've still yet to see a Dark Souls 2 boss, but I know that Addy has seen some Dark Souls 2 bosses.
I have. I've seen a couple.
So I'm excited for when they pop up. I've not got into the second Night Lord yet. I've been playing games for review, and thus I've not really had a lot of time to jump in and play it, but I'm excited to get back in with the guys again and try and take down the second Night Lord, which I'm sure Addy will be able to carry us through now that he's got all these permanent relics.
Exactly.
Because you do get relics from defeating the Night Lords that then have buffs, and some of them can be quite powerful. So that meta progression is there. We just need to get you through the first boss mark, and then we'll be on it. Like
that's it, exactly.
No.
But yeah, before we actually go into Adam's account, because I know you'll have a lot to say since you are now four Night Lords deep. Going back to what you were saying, V, about the proximity chat and voice chat and things like that, do you feel that that's purposely done because it's meant to be, again, a kind of like a hangover, an extension of Miyazaki's and the studio's attitude towards the spirits, the summon system of like calling players into your game? You can't communicate. They're ships passing in the night, brief moments of interaction. They help you with the boss. They disappear into the ether with an emote, sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like, is it meant to keep conjuring that kind of feeling of like you are just a random trio or duo that have come together with a common goal, and it's just about paying attention to each other, and that's where some of the difficulty is meant to come from?
No, not really. Not in Nightreign, because the rest of you can interact with the rest of the characters in the Round Table Hold. They have like their own storylines and stuff. So the implication isn't necessarily that it's a random from another world. It's like all of you are together in the Round Table Hold, and you're fighting together to stop the night. I think it's just because FromSoft's netcode is trash, and it's always been trash. And they just never really thought about it. It's a bit like the duos thing. It's like the summon system in Dark Souls. I love Dark Souls. I have terrible taste. Obviously, my favorite Dark Souls game is Dark Souls 2. But there's things that if other studios did them the way that FromSoft did them, they probably wouldn't get away with it. And not having, you put pins down on the map to be like, we can head over here, which is fine. But, and I understand why I kind of understand why you can only put one down at a time, but it also makes it very difficult to actually communicate, because then you need to go into the map if someone else has put one down somewhere else, and you're like, oh, I'll clear mine. You need to open the map to go in and clear it, and you only get like 4.5 minutes or something like that in the first phase before the circle starts, like the Fortnite circle starts closing in on you. And having to faff around with the map just makes it seem like, okay, it's fine when you're like, we're going to this church because we can get an extra flash charge or something, and everyone's aligned. But it's like, if someone else has put something down, it's like, oh, actually, yeah, that is a better idea. Reopening the map to then clear it, it just seems a little bit unintuitive. Whereas if you could just say to someone, oh, just ignore my map marker. We'll head towards yours. That's fine. Or you can say, could you please leave that fucking boss alone, because we don't have time for it, or something. It just seems like they didn't think about it because they've not really updated their netcode from Dark Souls 1 or Demon Souls, potentially. That's why when Elden Ring first came out, did all 3 Dark Souls games, the online mode was not available on PC for over a year. Because there was a security vulnerability discovered, and people were like able to hack people's PCs through you summoning on Dark Souls.
Oh god.
And it took them so long to fix it. Obviously they were doing stuff with Elden Ring, but Like, it took them so long to fix it because it's spaghetti code. And instead of building it from the ground up, they're just like, I'll be fine. All right. Nobody want to talk to each other in this co-op focus game where you might want to say, hold back for a second. I'm about to use my alt, or
just communicate some
we
basics.
can do a bit of synergy here. Like, I'm going to proc the damage buff, so run in, do loads of melee, as opposed because you can emote in the way you can in Elden Ring, but there's no emotes or anything. You can just, like, when we're playing Sea Immortals, you can put down like to target this part of the boss or anything. There's nothing. It's just like you put a pin on the map or play with a friend so you can tell them what you're doing via voice chat, and that's it.
I suspected as much, but obviously, because of the approach to multiplayer aspects of their games in the past, you can't help but feel like maybe there's an element of just like this worked in the past, so we'll keep doing it. It's like, no, as you said, it's probably just more a case of their own technical limitations and experience with it.
If you changed it now, though, all the diehards are, you changed it, it's not the same. Like, that'd be what would happen now, because it's like we're too locked in now, aren't we?
We're too deep
I think
now.
you can get away with it for this game, though, because it's a very different type of game.
Yes.
I think you're right. And what do you think, Adam? What are your thoughts then on Nightreign?
I am fucking loving it. It's really, really, really satisfying. It's really fun. I was always getting it because I loved Elden Ring. I was like, I want to see, this is different. I know it's different. It's not, and I'm always up for something, giving it a go. And I like the concept of battle royales. I find them quite stressful because I know I'm not as good, like in Call of Duty and stuff. Like, I know I'm not, like, I aren't winning very often because I'm not very good at it, sort of thing. And like, this stresses me out because I know there's gonna be some guy who's got the best weapon in the middle of the map and just pinging me with a sniper from miles away. But like, okay, let's try it's different. And Mark's not like, yeah, that would be me, bitch. Like, it's just but like, I was really up for it. And I like, give it a go. And like, the first one was a bit of a learning curve, wasn't it? I played the tech test for all of about an hour because I didn't have a lot of time to play it. But I really liked the kind of like the fast pacedness of it. Like but it felt stressful. Then because we were being, when you're in Battle Royale and you're getting absolutely hammered by the circle the whole game, like, it feels like you're being harassed. But if you get on top of it and you're aware of it, it's the same as that. You kind of manage it and you keep on top of it. But I played it after we had our session, and I carried on playing. Me and V played it, and I carried on playing it. And then I was like, "Oh, it's multiplayer. There's all these talk about you have to play it with 3 people, so I'll put it down." And I didn't want to put it down. I didn't want to play anything else. So I just started like, well, let's see what it's like. Let me see if I can run with some randos and see how it goes. I don't think I've done 4 bosses now. Like, I've not, like, I've done all with randos. Me and my mate played together again with a rando, and we did the first Night Lord with him. But like the extras when I was just playing on my own, just worked through them. I did like 2, 3, and 4 in an afternoon with randos because like just kept going. There's a couple of games where people just fuck it because they just like call it. When you played Assassin's Creed multiplayer, and you could spot the Call of Duty player because they're just running around because they don't understand the subtlety of the game. Because it's not let's just go get 100-point kill. You could have got 1400 if you just stood in the crowd, you prick. Like, but anyway, it's like that. So like, if some people just run and don't really know what they're doing, and they're new players and they don't know the game and all that sort of stuff, but like the people I've largely played with have been really solid with it. Like, they got the concept. You run for the flash, you go on the edge, you take on the bosses you can, you abandon bosses when you can't take them on, and it's just been lots of fun. And what I really like about the game is it forces, like, if you're playing it well, you want to get as upgraded as you can to take on the boss because they are tough. If you go in under-leveled or without a good weapon or without the kind of the weakness against whatever, it tells you at the start before you jump in what they're weak against. Like the first boss is weak to holy. V was carrying holy grease around for the whole fucking thing and didn't use it. We only figured out it was weak to holy afterwards. But like if you're like target, because like on the map it'll say there's a fire weapon here at this thing, so if you go target where you need to go if you want to try and get those weapons. But like if you go exploring the bases, the villages, there's bosses in all of those, and you get, every time you defeat a boss you get an upgrade, and there's a site of grace as well, so you can reset your flask, you can level up, and you get like a buff new weapon whatever it is, so you can keep upgrading your character. But if you just kind of faff around and don't really and don't be more purposeful around it, you will get hammered and you won't be able to defeat that boss because you won't have got the upgrades you need to take it on. You might, because you might be some sweaty prick who does it with a saxophone or whatever. But like, you know, it's just. But there's so much cool stuff in there. Like once you've done the first one's always like a dry run, and then it just really opens up. So like once you've done the first one, there's like these shifting lands that appear, so that like the map changes based on what the like this multiversal thing where some of the world kind of combines and it changes what's going on in that thing. So the first time you go in is this horrendous lava, like the world is cracked open and the volcano's gone off, and like there's like 3 lower levels, and there's like a falling star beast in there who's an absolute prick.
There's a gargoyle in there. There's always a fucking gargoyle.
And there's so much lava, and the first few times I got in there, didn't know how to get out of it and got ruined because I'm like, how do I get out of this thing? But then as you carry on, there's like a different one comes in. It's all snowy, and so there's the biomes from like Elden Ring. The different areas are kind of brought in, so then they bring different enemies with them as well. So you might when you first play, you think, oh, it's the same enemies in a similar location. I've fought that boss before, but they're actually, as you start taking on new Night Lords, the enemies change. Some of the bosses stay the same, but they're different, and then these shifting lands bring in a new element, so it's really cool. But like as the other guys have said, when you defeat them, and every run you get these new relics that give you buffs and stuff. But then if you defeat the Night Lords, you get extra buffs, and you can unlock these vessels that give you. So you get 3 relics you can equip, but you can buy vessels from the little pot jar man in the Table Hold, who we love, little pot jar man. But then you can create different loadouts for your characters based on the 3 relics. So the first guy might be like a red, green, and a blue color relic, but then the second one will be 2 yellows and a green. So it gives me a different play style and different buffs. So then you can play with, that's not worked, I'll try this one, and that sort of thing. And I've not even played every character yet. I unlocked the 2 that are locked currently, because obviously they're on about bringing more out and stuff like that. But they're quite fun. Like there's a random. I didn't even know how to unlock the Revenant, and then I just found how you do it. I don't know if I want to if it's counted as a spoiler, or to say.
There's a guide for it on the site. Yeah.
We have a guide for it up on the site. Yeah, we have a guide for it. Yeah.
I can talk about.
Koopy did it. Yeah, did an excellent job.
You walk around the Round Table Hall, and there's this creepy ass little phantom just stood in the corner looking at the wall. You think, she gonna go for me? And then you talk to her, and then you go into this like solo bit where you have to fight her to unlock her, and it's the Revenant, and she's just summoning all her shit and stuff, and you're like, oh, that's cool. So there's all those little bits where there's like a lot more to it just within the thing, and then, like I said, there's the journal, and you can replay runs to unlock extra stuff. I think it unlocks more relics that you can hold per your vessel if you complete the remembrances. So it's worth doing all those things as well. But I think you can matchmake for the remembrances and find people. But yeah, like the criticisms that I feel that people were having against Elden Ring from a lot of people were that they were trying to play it like a Dark Souls game or an Elden Ring game, and like it's not. Like it's the core. Like if you play it slow and steady and methodically and searching everywhere, you're gonna get ruined every time because like you're not gonna have time to do the exploration and stuff. Don't play it like that. Play it like it's designed. Like just
stuck in a dungeon underneath a castle like 3 runs in a row, all 3 of us, because we kept going into the stupid castle.
Yeah. I just really loving it, and just I haven't had a lot of time to play after I had a day off on Monday, so I just played a lot of it, and that's where I did the successes. But I just want to go play more because it's just super satisfying. I think it's really well done. Like, yeah, fully love it. Definitely play more. And my mate wants to play it loads more. We haven't done the Shell of the Erd Tree yet. And the idea was because quite hard again, like Mark says, getting 3 people together. Christ. But we're working through Gear's Judgment on Insane at the moment, so we're on the last boss. We've got to beat Khan, and then we've done it with all of the bloody stars as well to get Judgmental, the series of Judgmental. So we've got then we'll do Erd Tree. Like God, it will take forever. Let's do Nightreign because it's 45 minutes if you get to the boss sort of thing. You could do a run, and even if you only had that for an hour, you could do a run. You could say to somebody, "Do you want to do a run?" Whereas like to do a full co-op of Elden Ring, that's a full evening. But if you had an hour, you could probably do it. You could probably just make that happen. Like it feels easier to do that. Even if you want to do one more, it's very much let's have another go. Let's have another one. But yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, as you can probably tell, really enjoying it.
So yeah, absolutely. So go back to what Mark was saying about progression. Then, how do do you think that there is progression there that someone like Mark will find and begin to kind of enjoy more and see that sort of impetus to keep going?
I think there's a progression in the relics. So the more successful you are, but even just playing again, even if you're not successful, you get more relics, and you also get currency to buy relics from the pot jar man. And there's also like a blind buy sort of thing that gives you a random. I think it's a random relic.
Can you
So
give us an example of like what the relics are doing? Are we talking like stat improvements of like a percentage? Are we talking about an ability? Like what are we talking here?
Like Dark Souls, so it's like +2 to vigor or +2 to dexterity.
Right.
Or,
yeah.
You know, you can boost when you're low on HP. Your allies get like a buff for defense, but you don't. And there's some like that, and there's some that give you starting. Can't remember the name of it, but like a starting thing.
Starting consumables and starting your weapon can have a starting weapon art. I had one that was like
I couldn't think of
your
the
weapon
term.
starts with endure.
Your starting weapon might do poison or fire damage or something like that. So there's different stuff like that gives you like that edge to get started. But then you keep unlocking more stuff they get more powerful stuff and they get more on one. Some of them might be just one buff, but then other ones will get 3 or 4. So you can start combining them and giving yourself an edge. But there's also the kind of progression of just knowing what to do as well. So like those first few runs, you are just going, what the fuck is this? What's that? What are we doing here? What's this church for? Oh, I get a flask. Is that the same everywhere? Like there's like 3 churches in every map, but you should definitely prioritize and get those flasks. And then you start learning, it was really good when you go in here because there's a troll in there and he's pretty easy to defeat, but you get a purple buff or weapon. So we'll try and target that if we can. But yeah, so there's something about the experience of just playing it and learning it as well and that sort of thing. So I definitely. And then you get different weapons depending on. I think you get different weapons depending on who you're playing, like the types of weapons you get offered because you don't always get the same stuff. But then you just explore and find what's out there and stuff. It's just, it's great. I love it.
Yeah.
I do think there's something about we've only had a couple of runs. You'll be all right. I hope. Just want to play again. Yeah.
I did figure out because I think when we first played it as well. It was like, I'm never going to use that weapon, so I'm not going to pick it up. So you've got this like 6 weapon swaps. But a lot of weapons have passives.
Yes.
So you can, if you have them equipped, then you get buffs from the weapons just being in your inventory.
Yeah.
But the game doesn't really explain that unless you go into the journal and the round table hold and sort of like figure out all of the stuff. So like our first few runs, I was like, I'm not going to pick that up because I don't need it. But you should always sort of be just running about with 6 weapons. If you can find them, and then just be like swap it out for a new one later. Because when we got our successful run, we didn't even use holy damage because I found the gargoyle's twin blade, and we had the buff if things were poisoned, and I was just like, haha.
I liked all of them in a future run, and I was like, this is amazing. That's the first time I got that weapon. It was great. But I really like because you can have like 6 weapons in total. If you want, you've got like 2 slots. You got your right hand and your left hand. You can have 3 in each. So like I was running, like I normally run like dex weapons, like Rivers of Blood, Uchigatana, that sort of thing. Really like those sorts of weapons because like the quicker you can get a quick hit in and get out of the way and all that sort of shit. And also doesn't take forever to fucking swing your sword or whatever. Bang! Oh, I'm gonna die. But it's because there's no character that starts with that sort of thing. Really, the Executor. A lot of them Executor starts with one, similar to that. Executor, running joke. It was a Nightreign in-game joke, darling. But it's forcing me to play with different weapons and styles that I would not normally play because like Wilder is a great sword and they're slower and more deliberate and stuff like that. But then at one point I was running like that and a hammer and it was like bang bang, like big bonk, do good, and that sort of thing. It's just fun to try out different stuff and see how they kind of play. It was just great, really good. But then when you get like, you can diversify. Like, I've got a staff now and I can hit things from distance if things are like in the air or whatever else. And but none of our guys have got arrows normally, so it's cool. It's very cool. It makes you think on your feet, and I like that.
It sounds like the
sort
of thing it seems like the sort of game that could do with a handy beginner's guide, which we also just so happen to have up on the site. So yeah, if people are looking to get into the game, definitely check it out. It will give you some handy tips and tricks for getting started. and I imagine there'll be plenty more things to discover as you play it, as these guys have experienced.
By the time the podcast is live, the review for it will also be on the site. So,
Well, really?
yeah.
No, well, there we go. Excellent. So
Great.
you've got that to look forward to. And yeah, and we'll check in again. Let's do a catch up on Nightreign and see where you're all at with it again in a couple of weeks' time, outside of showcase season, when we can actually get a breath in.
Play some games.
Yeah, exactly. Which will take us into our main topic for this episode, which is the PlayStation State of Play, which happened yesterday on the 4th of June, 2025. We covered it extensively. We have several articles about the games that were shown off there, as well as a full rundown of all the games announced or shown off at the State of Play, courtesy of Adam. So thank you, as always, buddy, for doing such fantastic work and covering these big events, because it's not easy, especially when you're trying to get up as quick as you can, and we don't get press kits for everything, sadly, or press releases, sorry. We're very lucky when we do, and often it's only to discover that there's going to be dozens and dozens of games, and it can get a lot. So no, well done you, man, for that, and to everybody who helped out, because we did do a lot of coverage. So yeah, we're going to drop a lot of those articles in the description below, but yeah, we're going to go over our thoughts, and maybe pick out some of our favorite games from it, some of the things we liked from it. What was everyone's general feel there, sort of, I don't know, your score out of 10 for the State of Play? I would say, for myself personally, to get the ball rolling, I saw quite a few things I was interested in, enough new stuff that was a new announcement that was exciting to see, alongside stuff that we knew about already, but getting things like release dates and things like Silent Hill F, and that sort of thing. Like, there was enough there for me to say that for what is a State of Play and not a typical PlayStation showcase, which is still their big premiere event, I would give this maybe about a 7.5, maybe even an 8. That's where I'm sort of feeling. Is there anybody sort of around there, or
exactly where I'd be too? Exactly where I'd be.
Yeah, fair. What about you, V?
No, I would agree. There was a lot of good stuff. I think they did a good thing of sort of announcing the date of it and all that not too far out, so not allowing people to get their own expectations really ridiculously hyped. So it's always what happens for these sorts of showcases, and then it's like, oh, that was terrible because I thought you were going to release every single game that I've ever thought of ever, and how dare you, and how dare they not be out immediately? So I think they did it really well. But yeah, there was plenty there that I'm looking forward to. There was nothing that I was like, oh my god, that's so exciting. But there was plenty there that I'm like, yeah, this is a great year for games, a great couple of years for games. So I would put it around the same.
Absolutely. Adam?
I think I'd probably give it 7.5 maybe. Like, I there was lots of stuff I really like the look of, but like kind of like V, there was nothing like whoa. And I'm not a fighter, and then spending 10 minutes on that and the Marvel fighting game, I was less sold on. I mean, it was fine to show it and then go back and do an interview about it as a way to close the show. Okay, it was interesting. It was cool that they've got that game and like and all that sort of stuff. But I think for me, I was surprised that I think that there wasn't anything else that, apart from that very brief thing about Ghost of Yotai, there was nothing first party. When like people are like, what are Sony working on? And like clearly they're not ready to show it yet. Fair enough. But equally, you'd want something, right? Like, you must have something. I know you cancelled like all your games at one point, but like, you must have something. People, like, if you're gonna put something on at Summer Games Fest, literally in that week, at least show something you are working on. Because I think obviously they are, but yeah, just a bit like, you thought they would have had something. I know it's a state of play, not a showcase, but there have been plenty of other showcases where they've had their own stuff in there as well. So
Definitely,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, we saw, Zaros was announced at the last state of play and everything like that. We've seen big announcements from them at these events as well. Like they're not exclusive to just the big showcases from them, but they do treat them as two different things with like a certain level of sort of formal informalness, depending, I guess, on what format they're taking. But I would agree, I guess, that there was obviously a very limited presence when it came to first party stuff. They fleshed it out with obviously highlighting their own wireless fight stick when they showed off I think it was after the MK collection, the Mortal Kombat collection. I think they showed off from Digital Eclipse. Like, again, I've done numerous of these sort of things. They're very, very good. They're like the go-to for like, if you're an IP with a lot of like old arcade games in particular and stuff like that, to catalog, do a bunch of behind the scenes stuff for like that. They're the masters of that right now. And then they did a little quick bit, obviously covering like the games that were coming out to like PlayStation Plus, Extra, and Premium, and all that sort of jazz. But yeah, there wasn't another game that could really take the spot of that Marvel. I can't remember the full title. Tokon.
I don't know how you pronounce it, but yeah, Tokon.
Fighting
Souls.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Fighting Souls. That was it. Yeah.
No.
So yeah, it kind of makes sense that was the last game shown. That was the one to close it all out. But at the same time, it's sort of like, it would have been maybe great if that could have been somewhere in the middle, and then you could have had another closer, another first party game, something being shown off.
007 for me, like that was more of a finisher than that.
Yeah, but you want to be first party, I think. Yeah.
The interview is what threw me, I think, because it was like, if it was just the trailer, but then doing that reverse and then going to interview the devs, which is cool because we love to see that. The developer directs are great for that, but finishing your show off blows the momentum a little bit. If you're building up to your big reveal or whatever, it stumbles a little bit. Yeah, that's just it's being pernickety at that point, though, obviously. But
yeah, but that's why we cover these things at the end of the day. We want to talk about the whole thing, the production of it, which again they've kind of got their format now for these states of plays. There's the talking heads every now and then from different members of the team. Occasionally, you get some of the cool developers showing up. We had Suda51 make an appearance, which is always nice to see him in his crazy energy. But why don't we go through it then and sort of talk about some of our personal highlights maybe from it, or we can just even go through the whole show, if we want to, from start to finish. How do we want to approach this?
I don't think we need to go through the entire thing.
I think highlights is probably
better.
Cool.
If people watched it and people can go through it. But
yes, it's a very handy article.
There's ones that I just have nothing to say.
Absolutely.
I don't know why they keep showing off this baby steps game. I'm sure it's very interesting, but it just looks, it's super weird to me that it's getting such a spotlight at so many of these states of play. I'm like, okay.
And that's featured in quite a few, hasn't it? Yeah. Well, in that case, let Mark, did you get a chance to watch it or at least read through any of the coverage for State of Play?
Watched the show last night. I thought it was, like I said before, I think it was a 7.5, 8 kind of show.
Yeah.
But I felt like it was like, and I mean this in a really positive way. There was lots of smaller titles in it, but lots of these smaller titles which would have meant a lot to a lot of people. So things like Final Fantasy Tactics, like my Twitter has been mental on that today. Whereas, to like your mass market of gamers who are probably watching this looking for FIFA, Call of Duty and Wolverine, they might be like, Final Fantasy Tactics, whatever. But like to some people that's huge. And like Pragmata, however you say it, that coming back, like that's been MIA for so long and it looks the absolute shit. I think that would be my kind of game of the show. But and to loads of other people that they'll be buzzed that's come back. But then I've also had another mate who was absolutely over the moon about Bloodstained, and that was his biggest game of the show.
Yeah.
So I think there are lots of kind of games that mean different things to different people from here. And although they're those big juggernaut first party games, you know, a new Uncharted, a Wolverine, Ghost of Yotei, which had the small fairing. I think this was a really good balanced show, and there was lots of different types of games here. So really positive. But yeah, like I said, I think Pragmata was brilliant. I think that looks absolutely awesome, and looking forward to playing that next year. I think it was one of those that we thought may never see the light of day, or end up winding up early next gen or something like that, because it's been so long since it was unveiled. I thought Bond looked the absolute bollocks. I really liked the look of Bond. I was saying in our Discord last night that Quantum of Solace on the 360 is possibly my favorite licensed game ever. I love that game so much. It's such a 6 out of 10, but I just loved it.
Love it.
God knows how many hours I played with that online back in the day. But yeah, I think the Bond character looks really young and charismatic and looks good fun. And I think the M and the Q characters in the trailer look like there'll be a really good kind of dynamic and relationship between them. But it was good to see that there's that IO kind of DNA to the game, that it's going to be stealth, there's going to be espionage, but it's definitely got that kind of Bond feel to it. There's going to be the big explosive car chases. You could see the Bond girls sat on the deck chairs. There's just that kind of Bond DNA and I think IO are the perfect custodians to that franchise, and I hope they smash it. I think it looks really good. Just one other I think I'll give a shout out to, which picked up my fancy, was Cairn. It was one of the smaller games of the show. And that's a mounting traversal game, so climbing mountains. And I think the reason that stood out to me so much is because I really enjoyed Jusant, which was a mountain climber that I played, I think it was last year, could have been a couple of years ago now.
Yeah, great game.
And I loved that. I thought it was a really good game. So yeah, looking forward to having something else similar, which never thought would happen. But overall, really good show. And I think there are lots of different niche things there. Well, not even niche, I guess. But lots of nice surprises for a lot of people. And I look forward to finally playing Final Fantasy Tactics after people have been begging me all my life to play the bloody thing. So yeah, great show. Really good show.
I'll add to that list of people because it is a fantastic game. I and grew up loving it as well. And seeing that was very nice. Of course, as much as it's not quite my dream come true yet, but I will keep holding out for my Final Fantasy IX remake. But the Tactics one is very nice. Ivalice Chronicles. Yeah, well done Square Enix for showing up with that. That was a nice touch. And yeah, I think all of the ones you mentioned there, definitely, like most of those spoke to me as well, Mark. And I think, like you said, it one of the great things about this show was that there was a lot of good variety amongst the different games that were shown. I don't think we just saw like a whole bunch of farming sims or a whole bunch of survival
like
games.
Weekend, I'm sure, if you want all the farming sims, surely.
What's that?
The Nintendo Direct's like sometime over the weekend, I'm sure, for all the farming sims.
No doubt. Yeah.
Not a Nintendo Direct, is there?
No, there's not. I think they're just going to be at Summer Games Fest. I just remember that one year for one of the Nintendo Directs, and every second
like
game
half a dozen.
like,
Yeah, it was bad. Oh, great. Another chibi art style farming sim game. Cute. All right. Yep. Well, yeah, what were the ones that stood out to you?
Well, Cairn is actually one of my picks for our fantasy critic that no one really talks about. So strange of you to say that you're looking forward to it since you counterpicked it.
Yeah, well,
it was going to get bad reviews.
I've said this several times. I had not many options.
Yeah, definitely. But no, I'm really looking forward to that. In fact, I played the demo of it on Steam earlier on this year, and we covered it as part of the demo disc. So I don't think you'll be disappointed, Mark. The demo is absolutely cracking. In fact, you can play the demo of it when you get your Steam Deck. Because it's a really, really, really fun game. I've not played Jusant, but I really enjoyed my time with the demo in Cairn. I think the highlight for me though was probably Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. I love Blasphemous. It's one of my favourite Metroidvanias, despite the fact I am terrible at it. But I really, really enjoyed it. So, and you could definitely see a lot of the sort of Blasphemous DNA in that trailer. So I've got a lot of faith that it's going to be, well, just as brutally difficult as you would expect a Ninja Gaiden game to be. But also like a return to the 2D like Metroidvania version of it rather than the the remaster we got earlier on in the year, and obviously Ninja Gaiden 4 I think is coming out later on. So I'm very, very excited for that. But yeah, I think as Mark said, there was it was a smaller showcase, but there was loads of fun things, a lot of good variety, which I think is what I want to see in a showcase. There wasn't too many titles. Obviously, much easier for Addy to do a rundown, but also in showcase season, and I know that Addy feels very passionate about this. Sometimes you get a lot of showcases, sometimes they've got too much stuff. But this just seemed they had taken like a good selection of really different games that all looked pretty good or amazing, and just put them in. So there was a little bit of something for everyone. But yeah, I think those two I'm very excited about. I'm sure I will pick up. If I ever actually finish Neo 2, I'm sure at one point I'll probably pick up Neo 3. But who knows when that day will be. Probably not on release date. 2026 seems pretty close for me to be finishing off the Neo franchise.
That's quite an undertaking, yeah. But not easy, apparently. Well then, yeah, Adam, what were your highlights from the show?
It's quite funny. I've just had a few trailers running because I just reminded myself, and like I spend so much time writing it, I don't actually watch a lot of what's shown. Like I know the games, like I clock that clock. Oh, that 5 seconds I've actually watched of it looked pretty cool. But a couple, I've had to go through it again just to remind myself. Maybe David says it looks weird as fuck. I don't know what that is. Don't understand it. But like Mark, I'm looking forward to Final Fantasy Tactics. Never played it. In fact, I've not like I famously said before, I've never finished a Final Fantasy, so I'm planning to go through them all. And I'm glad to see it coming out on absolutely everything, which is nice. There's that. Bond looks great. Big Bond fan. GoldenEye, obviously. Who doesn't? And then Nightfire on the kind of that PS2 era. I loved Nightfire and all the gadgets. It felt really kind of satisfying. I remember the shininess of the pistol in that one for some reason. That really stands out to me in my head for some reason. And I really, Quantum of Solace played that today. 1000 G'd it, loved it, lots of fun. But from this, for the other ones, some different stuff. I was really glad, like Thief, to see the return of Thief.
Yeah.
VR, great. I have a PSVR 2, and I would like more games for it. And the fact that they have, suddenly surprises me because it just looks like they just whatever about the PSVR 2, and then they still happily will feature them in the showcases and state of plays and stuff. Like it's really reassuring, although I'd love to see some more first party from them. We've done Horizon, fuck it, won't do anymore. But Thief VR, it looks super
very
fun.
Good.
The trailer where he picks the key off the guy, and then off he goes. Yes, give me that. I'm really excited for that. Weird that they opened with a VR title of the State of Play. Thought that was an interesting choice with Lumens. But yeah, however you pronounce it. But that, and I really like the look of the paper fold Hiragami, the paper folding one.
Yes,
it looks super cool. It very much my sort of game. I love that. Love the look of that. So very excited for that. And Romeo is a Dead Man looks insane, and I love it. It looks awesome. I know nothing about it. It might be terrible. Who knows? So Suda 51 can go either way. It's great though. It looks awesome.
Yeah. Another wacky joint from Suda 51 at Grasshopper Manufacture. You could tell it was his sort of within a few seconds of the game, of that trailer beginning. It's and it just ramps up your percentage of certainty.
Is a killer, okay. Or whatever it is.
Yeah. It's like, I'm fairly certain. No, I'm definitely certain. This is absolutely. There he is.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, and Hirogami is one I've been watching for a while now. I sort of spotted that on Steam, I think late last year, and so to see it getting a PS5 announcement like release was very cool alongside its actual release date on the, if I remember correctly from writing it up, I think it was the 3rd of September. So yeah, that was very cool. And again, Final Fantasy Tactics I think was announced on for the 30th of September. September has suddenly gotten very busy just off the back of this one state of play, which is quite interesting.
Well, no GTA now, is there? They know when GTA is out.
Well,
so
exactly.
Like,
Yeah, it's all going to just cascade
I
in
think
now.
all the release dates now. This is it.
It's free reign, so but it's going to get nutty, I think, which would be interesting to see. But yeah, Hirogami was definitely one of, again, you guys have definitely covered most of the ones I was sort of interested in. The only other one I would maybe one or two I would add were obviously seeing Silent Hill F. More of that was cool. Seeing more actual gameplay, getting release dates, all that sort of stuff, really interesting. I also love the fact that she's wielding a pipe, and I'm fairly certain there's a bit of me that's like, is that what the F is? It's just that she's using a pipe that's shaped like that, and then that's like the whole reason why there's the F. Like, I don't know, like maybe that's just me being silly, but yeah, I noticed that she's wearing a very archetypal sort of iron sort of plumbing pipe type thing. It's like, oh, okay, maybe, but yeah. And then the other one that stood out to me was that Sea of Remnants.
Yes, that did look good.
Yeah, which again was just like some really visually bombastic sort of trailer, went all over the place, kind of really didn't necessarily give it much information as to actually what it is. And so then going and doing a bit more of a dive into it and getting some more press release info about it and writing it up. It's a free to play game. It's coming from a studio that was part of NetEase Games, who obviously we all know from making several titles that are normally full of things like microtransactions and gacha elements. And this is another free-to-play title, which is coming to PC, PS5, but then also to iOS and Android. So it's a mobile title as well. So it's one I'm kind of going to sort of wait and see on now, and just see what their intentions are with it, because it looks really exciting. It's cool, piratey kind of puppetry adventure, like 3D adventure game incorporating real-time ship-based combat with a ship that you can upgrade alongside, assembling crews from over 300 different NPC characters you can meet and interact with, and you send them out onto like turn-based combat to explore on islands and find treasure and fight off, different factions and stuff. There's a lot to this, and I recommend going and checking the article in the description below to learn more about it. But it is, it's still one of those where I'm like, oh, this is actually the one that's piqued my interest the most, and sadly it's also the one I now have to be the most kind of like, but what are they going to do with it? Like, is it going to be a game that feels good to play, or am I going to end up being stopped at every 2 to 3 minutes to spend more money to make my experience better, to unlock this piece of content? Hey, there's a new sale going on in the Emporium shop about new outfits, all that sort of stuff. Like, I don't have much of a problem with it as long as it's not too egregious. Like, I appreciate free-to-play games need to generally make their money somewhere at the end of the day, but try and handle it in a way that feels like you're not cramming it down my throat, and I will be happy to at least try the game out as a free-to-play experience. And if I've enjoyed it enough, the likelihood is I'll go, oh, actually, you know what? I really like that set. I really want my character to wear that coat throughout the game now. I'll spend a couple of quid to get that. But otherwise, we'll wait and see. Not until 2026, nothing more than that. And other than things like Pragmata, really cool to see that come back. Fun play on the little post-it note, saying it's real and coming in 2026 and everything like that. Just I thought that was really sweet. But overall, I thought it was a fun showcase. Good amount of variety that we only covered maybe half the games that were there. Just talking amongst ourselves now. I think other than maybe a slightly healthier injection of first party stuff, and maybe finding a different game to end on. But I can also appreciate why they chose to end on that game, because of the partnership involved, and it's a big deal. It's a Marvel game, it's a fighting game that, again, as they even say, I think in the behind the scenes interview section, they're sort of like, why is PlayStation not in this scene? Which makes complete sense when they already are so ingrained into the fighting scene by virtue of owning things like the main fighting competition. I think is actually now officially a Sony event, isn't it? If I remember correctly.
Evo, is it?
Evo, yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I think they own Evo now, if I remember correctly.
I think that's right. Yeah.
And things like that. So it's like, they govern all of that. So why not have your own title? Makes complete sense. And if you can do it with Marvel, even better. I guess. But yeah, obviously that is only the state of play that we've covered, the PlayStation state of play. There have been several other showcases, all of which we will again drop in the description below. But again, did anybody have any games they wanted to highlight from any of those if they'd seen any? I know, again, there's been a lot, so I can appreciate that you haven't had time to go through all of the different showcases that have been out on.
What I will say, because I've covered quite a few already, and there's more to come. And I've written summary articles for the Shack News E4 indie showcase. The rest of them are all indies, more or less. Shack News one, the Horror Game Awards Summer Showcase, which has 102 trailers, which is just insane. And then the Indie Quest showcase as well. And like I largely don't think there's been any duplicates so far. Like, I really get annoyed when the same trailer appears multiple times. Like, it doesn't need to be in every showcase. But I would encourage people to go check the summary articles out, because obviously if you don't have a lot of time watching a 2-hour showcase like the indie horror one or whatever, maybe you don't have that time. But scrolling through and seeing what there might, from the small description, watch the trailer, you can see what takes your fancy, because there was some really interesting stuff across all of the showcases. And there's lots of stuff I've never heard of. Like, I'm not a big horror person, really. I don't tend to play like horror games, but there's some that really caught my eye. Like, that sounds fun, or really different takes on what you might think of as horror. There's some classic ones. There's a lot of PS1 Resi Evil style type, like almost blatant rip-offs coming. There's one that even has the guy going, similar to the guy going Resident Evil, in the same style of the title of their game. And like, that is, I mean, it was imitation is a serious form of flattery, but fuck me, that's close. It's just, yeah. But I really like the Shack News one. I really enjoyed, because it was 23 titles. It was like 50 minutes long, but there was like a good amount of variety and lots of cool stuff, and just like lots of stuff worth checking out. And the developers were like, as part of it, like the developer directs when they talk about the game and why they made it. There's quite a bit of that as well, which kind of makes it a bit more personal. It had a good balance. So yeah, there was. I won't go through any. There's one where you get to, it's called Table Flip Simulator, and you're in a coffee shop and you get pissed off and you start flipping tables and trashing the place. It's just like silly stuff like that as well. Like, I'll probably never play that, but it was fun to watch the trailer. Like, but there's lots of cool stuff, so I would definitely recommend having a look what's there, because lots of stuff I would never have seen before otherwise.
Absolutely, yeah. Did Mark or V, do you have any other games you want to highlight from anything else, or should we move on to sort of what we're looking forward to? And actually, we will we'll do our special little segment now as well.
Nothing for me.
Nothing really from. No, nothing for me either. I've been kind of, I got limited time, so I'm saving my my showcase appetite for the for tomorrow night for Southern Games Fest, and then Sunday for the big Xbox One. So I'll save my enthusiasm and my my thumbs on the keyboard for typing up articles about them for that.
Yeah, we've still got plenty to come. Yeah, we're about a third of the way through, I'd say. So yeah, still plenty more. And V, yeah, you say you're okay. Nothing else you want to cover?
Nothing else I want to cover yet. I've not really had a lot of time to look into a lot of the other showcases that I've been on. So, well, no. I'm sorry, I've been very busy.
we all have been at the end of the day. Yeah, we're all just trying to keep up. So no need for anybody to apologise here. We're all doing our best, and everybody else on the GSC site. Everyone's been working really, really hard. And yeah, we'll keep doing that as best we can. So yeah, we'll go into our final segment here, which is obviously what we're looking forward to, which will be more showcases. But also we can have some fun with it if we fancy, because of course we have two people here who have their new toys with the Nintendo Switch 2. V already has hers out and is making the most of it. Addy, if he wants to, he can either keep hold of it for himself to enjoy it in the privacy of his own home, or he could maybe share the experience with all of us with a quick unboxing.
A quick unbox.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right on the top. No fucking about. There it
No.
is. There it is. They're not teasing you. As soon as you get it up and bang, there it is.
There you go.
Great.
We know what you're here for.
We know what you're here for. Absolutely. Get the goodies. I really like the pops of
Really nice
colour.
cardboard. That's what we're here for. Like,
The cardboard. What would you do? They had poly, made thin, layered, clay.
it's microflute. That is microflute. The box that mine got delivered in from Nintendo was a double wall microflute with a clay coated craft inner layer. But
Mine came from Amazon and it had groceries in it.
For those of you, yes, we do have a cardboard specialist on staff. So take that, IGN.
Did anyone hear about the?
Nice, isn't it?
Ooh.
I mean, still listen to this on audio. Like Christ, like get it out. Oh, it's a good size. Oh, it feels nice in your hands.
Sorry, Mark. What did you say?
Well, no, just you guys talking about the packaging. It's reminded me of something I've seen on social media today, and it was either GameStop or Best Buy in America, one of the two. And one of the staff members have been stapling the receipts for people's pre-orders to their names to the boxes.
Yeah.
And the staples have been going all the way through the boxes.
Oh my god, it's on the front. Oh my god.
And all the way through to the screens. Absolutely shocking.
Oh my god.
That's horrendous. Can you imagine? And there will be another one. Not like they're going to go in the back and get another one, are they?
No. Oh my god, that's awful. Jesus.
Bad times.
Oh, it's substantial. I really like it. It's like I very like my I've got an OLED and it's so underused. Like just always feels a bit. The OLED's quite nice actually. It felt more secure than the original, but the original the Joy-Cons it still feels a little bit wibbly like that.
Yeah.
That feels really substantial with the magnetism. Who knew magnets? You love them when you're a kid, and you still love them now because they're fucking great.
Everyone loves magnets.
Yeah, that's the slogan for magnets.
You love them when you're a kid, they're still fucking great. But no, that's really nice. I like that the stand is really substantial as well. I was looking at this because I do not think this reminds me of the camera you get on the 360. You remember when you
Why
played
did you
Burn?
buy
yeah.
one?
Oh yeah,
Vision
because I wanted the achievements when you like Rainbow Six and you put your.
I mean,
face
why
in
did
the-
you buy that?
Oh, because I wanted the piranha plant in front of my TV.
Oh,
Yeah, for people who are literally just listening, it is the Piranha Plant camera for the Switch 2.
yeah, sorry.
Yes, so yeah, but like, look at you can take it out of the pot and put it in the top of your Switch, so you've got like a camera because of the USB at the top. But the idea is that the camera, you take it around with you. So if you're doing game chat or whatever, or you want to play on the go, you can literally have your face wherever you go. But you get a piranha plant stuck out the top of your fucking Switch, and I love that. It's great.
Just staring at you. I love it.
I'm gonna have to open it and see what it looks like. So yeah, it's V. What have you been playing on the old Switch?
Well, I did play some Mario Kart World on it. You know, needs must. Got it in the bundle. So, but yeah, I enjoyed it. It looks great, actually. I've got to say, it looks spectacular. It's really, really lovely looking game. I'm not sure about the free mode. I don't know if the free roam mode if it adds enough to justify the price point. It seems like it's going to get pretty boring pretty quickly, to be honest. Just driving about in free roam. I think that's basically the best way to unlock the costumes and stuff. But yeah, it just is a bit alright, okay. Unless I only played it for an hour and a half, so unless there's something I'm missing from the free roam mode that is so amazing, I just didn't run into it. But I do like the fact that the Grand Prix are in their own little areas. So you'll have one race that's round a track, and then the next race is from one race to the other.
Mm-hmm.
So you drive into it, and I did the Mushroom Circuit Cup or the Mushroom Cup, and the final race is fantastic. You get into a city, and then it's like a recreation of the original Donkey Kong. So you're like driving up all the scaffolding and stuff like that, and there's barrels everywhere, and it was just
Wow.
super fun. But you know, it's like Mario Kart. So I'm gonna try and convince some of my friends to come
Look
round
at
to
it.
my
There it
house
is.
at some point next week to play Mario Kart with me, and then we can do a full review. Like,
Okay, I love this. So look, like the camera's not even always out. Like you open its mouth and it's there.
They've, d- they've done a
That's
good
so
job with
great.
that.
I love
The
it.
leaves, you attach it to the cable, so it's not even attached all the time. You just take it off. But then, like I say, you pop that out and pop it in the USB at the top. The USB there is. So you've got the little camera on your Switch. So there he is, just like following you around.
That's very cute.
I
I
love
will
it.
give them that.
Like I said, I'm probably not going to use it as a camera. I'm just going to use.
That makes me think, if Nintendo could figure out a way that they could make attachments to just literal, like, just little, like, characters, like Pikmin, so that could sit on the top of the Switch too, they would make a fortune out of
I
that.
would buy so much of that fucking stuff because, like, if I've just got a little pic, you don't have to do anything. Just glow
No,
some shit.
literally, yeah, that's it. Just have little like holes that you just, and they have little pins in the bottom that you just slot them in, and then you just have like Pikmin sitting on the edge of your Switch 2 looking at you as you play, or Mario's about like running and there's a Goomba, or you know what I mean, like that sort of stuff. Like,
Yeah, I do love that they put a USB at the top though, that because like the charging
Yes.
thing really annoyed me.
yes.
wait,
Yeah, no, I love it. I like it.
need
And
to
did you get
transfer all
Mario?
your save data now. Mine took
I
a while.
got the Mario Kart
Yeah.
bundle because I'm not. I've said multiple times I'm not paying 80 quid for that game. So the fact that it was 30 quid in the bundle makes sense.
Yeah.
So the code now, I'm not about to show you the code on the
No.
screen because I know in my luck I'll flash the code and then I'll lose my code because I won't.
Yep. I'll put
It's
this up
only
before
us
somehow you
here.
get it.
You can download it before we put the podcast up.
My luck, I'll probably just forget and not do it. So there's the Joy-Con holders, the little
Yep.
Switch 2 logo on it. That's the power thingy, innit? What's it called?
Yeah, that's the dock.
The dot.
Yeah.
Oh, it's rounded. So it's been in camber, corner the edges, round the edges. Ooh. Yeah, someone did. Someone just fucking went like, "Ooh." There we go.
Yep.
It's got the same number of parts from the looks of it. Oh, it's got more. Or maybe not. I don't know.
That's
It's
why they pay the
substantial,
big
that one.
bucks.
It's more substantial. More fanage. I'm a fan, big fan. And then
And
cables,
Mark-
as you would expect, power and shit. That's like,
Mark, you'll have all this to look forward to as well when you get your Steam Deck, of course. We'll have to do the same with you.
This week.
I'll have to buy the dock separately at least.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, the Steam Deck comes with significantly less stuff in the box.
Yeah, not nearly.
Might not even come with the Steam Deck.
Steam Deck carry case. I've not actually got size comparison. We use Steam Deck, Nintendo Switch 2 size comparison because my Steam Deck is here.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
Side by side.
Oh yeah, let's see.
Wow,
To be fair,
okay.
actually, it's a lot bigger than the Switch OLED that I've got over there.
Yeah.
It's
It's a bloody
chunky.
beast, that Steam Deck, isn't it? Oh,
The Steam Deck's big
I hope
too,
it's more.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's more ergonomic than the Switch One because that thing fucking cripples my hands. But I
Mm.
can't
Yeah,
play
Yeah,
for
the
too long.
Steam Deck's got, it's like curved at the back, and it's got like little back paddles as well. So
And that's
I
more
do
like,
actually think it's
yeah.
more comfortable to hold for long periods than the Switch is. Yeah.
oh, that's good.
Thank God.
That'll be good. Well, thank you for doing that, Adam. Thank you for unboxing with us.
Thank you
No
for the
worries.
Mario Kart code.
Yeah.
Go on.
Thank you for your Mario Kart code.
No. Oh, I panicked then because I went like that. I thought that what if that's the wrong way around?
But yeah, I think as we said, we're still obviously very busy with all the showcases. We'll be continuing to cover that sort of stuff. We are also in the process of reviewing games here that we can't talk about, unfortunately, and plenty of other things. Those are the regular news we'll try and keep up with as best we can over this period. June is a crazy busy month, to say the least. So yeah, we are doing the best we can here. We appreciate all of you out there who visit us on the site and read out all our articles there, or come to the podcast channel here, or even visit our Game and Social Guides YouTube channel as well, which we also have for any video guides we do. But yeah, I think that is another episode, guys. I think we're going to wrap it up there. So again, thank you three for joining me this week. Thank you everybody for tuning in to listen. We hope you have a great week. Enjoy all the forthcoming announcements. Enjoy your Switch 2s for those who have them, for those who celebrate. And yeah, have a great week. Play some great games. Look after each other. Take care of yourselves. And we'll see you soon. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Hi guys.